Thank you. Hello and welcome to Good News. So, what have we learned this week? Well, I tell you what, it doesn't take much to make them laugh at Sky News.
Bottoms.
Blimey, have you seen what Jackie Smith looks for in a film?
Anal sex, double penetration, group sex.
This is one of my favourite clips of all time. Check out the advice an old lady gave Ed Milliband on how to deal with the Tories.
These bloody Tories.
I know. We've got to do something about them, don't we?
Machine gunners.
Well, I don't think that's a good idea, but we need to get them out. You're right. We definitely need to get them out. Take care.
I'll tell you what, I've watched this next clip 20 times. I still don't know what this man is saying.
So I took a raffle through the ladies' characters, which I ended up we used to read when I was a school lad. And that's no yesterday.
Hey, the award for most emotional interview of the week has to go to this guy.
I grew up here, I live here, and I used to play football here. And I can't believe anybody's going to close this damn thing down. And I'm a carpenter, I couldn't, shit.
So, what got him so upset? War? Poverty?
Got you that upset?
Oh yeah, what are you kidding? It's like stupid. Why would they shut down this library?
Well, there's only one story dominating the news.
Final preparations are taking place ahead of the royal wedding tomorrow.
The Daily Express are trying their hardest to hype the event. Royal wedding fever is gripping the nation. I'm not so sure about that.
What do you think about the royal wedding?
Not interested.
Do you have any plans for the day?
Not interested.
Ask me a question about royal wedding.
What do you think about...
I don't care. I really don't care.
What do you think about the royal wedding?
I'm bored out of my mind with it.
Are you? Too much coverage.
Ridiculous. Two young people getting married, so what?
Isn't she great? She's literally seconds away. Why don't you just fuck off? Of all the interviews, this is probably my favourite.
Am I getting invited?
I don't know, you tell me. Are you waiting for your invitation?
No.
Hello. Why aren't I going? Do you want to go? No. I hate the royals. It's all a bit over the top, isn't it? When the wedding was announced, nobody cared. We don't care about the royal family. I don't feel connected to them. I could not give a shit. What, we get a day off? God save our greatest queen. Let's have a street party! The trouble is, the parties won't be like this. They'll be like this. Let's be honest, the last thing you want to do is get drunk with your neighbours. All the grudges will come out. It'll start off quite nice. Hello, a jam and scone, how marvellous. 9 hours later, why do you mow the lawn every Saturday at 7 in the fucking morning? And I hate your cat. That's why I killed him. Didn't really kill a cat. Now, if you think there's been a lot of media coverage in this country, you should see America.
The royal wedding hype is reaching a fever pitch.
The energy is just palpable.
The entire world will be watching.
Kate and Will's big day.
They're obsessed. My favourite has to be ABC News. They've employed an Irish guy who just makes stuff up.
William is a very bad surfer. William has one foot that's 2 sizes bigger than the other. The Queen Mother was a big fan of Jamaican ska music.
He's just making up bollocks. Camilla keeps her otter in a handbag. The Queen only ever eats Monster Munch. One of the things that's amazed me about the wedding is the sheer quantity of crap memorabilia. These are all real.
Royal wedding oyster card.
William and Kate teapot.
White bone china.
A £5 coin.
16-inch doll.
Sick bags.
Party popper.
Garden gnomes. Pez dispenser.
Place settings.
Nail polish.
Pizza. Tea bags. Condoms. Graphic novels.
Snacks. And a royal wedding cock ring.
A royal wedding cock ring. Let's hope they don't use that for the service. Harry? What the hell is this?
Lost it.
That's not even the weirdest product. Check this out. British company create Viagra-laced beer for the upcoming royal wedding. I bet you money Harry gives some to the corgis. Wouldn't that be great? They're in the garden dragging their wangs in the dirt like a furry Scalextrics. Bit much. Now, I think a Viagra beer is madness. You'll have a boner, but you'll also be bursting for a piss. The reception toilets will look like this. So, what else has been going on? Well, big political news. Ed Milliband is having a nose job.
Ed Milliband is to have an operation on his nose to rid him of his nasal drawl.
Sky News reporter Peter Spencer slammed it.
Of course, there is much speculation about whether it is to make him sound less like a mutant.
It's like Spencer's had a meltdown. He's a mutant, you're all arseholes, and Sky TV can lick my balls. Back to you, Adrian, you fat wanker. Apparently, the reason Milliband's having the operation is because he wants to sound smoother and more prime ministerial. Wouldn't it be funny if the surgeon was a massive Tory and he ended up sounding like this? To be honest, I'm not sure his voice is the problem. I think it's the fact that every time you look at him, you can't help but see this. In religious news, the Pope's had a big weekend.
The Pope has taken part in a televised question and answer session this afternoon. It was the first time a pontiff has taken questions from members of the public, although they were submitted in advance on a website and then chosen by producers.
Did you watch it? It was so boring. What they should have done, got a load of kids, filled them full of Red Bull and let them ask him questions.
Mr. Pope! If God is everywhere, does that mean he watches me when I do a poo? What a weirdo! Pope, I got one. You know Jesus, right? You know Jesus, right? You know Jesus was born on Christmas Day. Does he only get one set of presents? One more. If God loves us, why did he make Justin Bieber? Look at me, Pope.
If I could ask the Pope a question, it would simply be, what is going on with these dancers? I've done nothing to this clip. The music and the camera shots are exactly what happened. In sporting news, Real Madrid won the Spanish Cup. Look what happened during the celebrations.
During the victory parade through the Spanish capital, Sergio Ramos was showing off the trophy when suddenly he lost his grip. The unsuspecting driver continued on, leaving the cup stuck under the bus.
What an idiot. I mean, you can see how he dropped it. It's not as if it's got two massive handles. What can I hold on to? You've got to love Sergio Ramos. Did you see what he said on Twitter? I didn't drop it, it jumped. He's like a 5-year-old stood next to a broken window. It wasn't me. It was the window monster. To be honest, it's not a surprise this happened. Ramos is pretty clumsy. Look what he did to a girl at the celebration party. Sergio Ramos. Tell you what, some cracking animal stories knocking around. First up, a report about love.
In a corner of Harrogate, there's an air of sadness.
Yeah, and do you know why? It's because, isn't he beautiful? But Peter the peacock is all alone.
For the last year, the homeless bird has been wandering from street to street, searching for a female companion.
Oh, it's brilliant. A randy peacock is strutting around Yorkshire. How do, ladies? Do you want to see how he tries to pull?
Just needs somebody with him, he just looks for somebody and cries. Sometimes it's a hoot, but more than enough, it's a cry like a cat.
Well, God knows what a cat looks like. Imagine going round her house. Do you want to meet me, cat? That's an elephant.
Oh, it's a cat. He's got a trunk and tusk. You're right, it is an elephant. Bloody pet shop. Tony, you were right. Yeah, empty the bath. It's not a goldfish, it's a rhino. We've been diddled.
Despite the bird's strange squawk, he's made the local granny swoon.
He's displaying it's spring and he's showing his beauty.
And it is clearly working. Look what he's been up to with this lady.
All the girls say to me at work, "Oh, you Terry, you look dreadful this morning." Yes, I've been up with that peacock again.
Son of a bitch! She's like, you call him peacock, I call him thundercock. Oh! Incredibly, she's not alone. He's really been putting it about.
But we all love him, don't we, girls?
Yes.
Look at that, look! He's like the peacock Wayne Rooney. Have you heard the latest airline hitting the skies?
With competition among airlines as tough as ever, it seems some will go to any lengths to attract new customers, even the four-legged variety. Pet Airways is being launched in the US to provide dedicated travel for cats and dogs.
That's right, it's an airline for dogs. Well, some of them were born to fly. Imagine dogs checking in. Hello, sir. Has anyone interfered with your bags? Yeah. A vet snipped them off when I was a puppy. I thought it was just a day out and then gone. So I'd love to see dogs in the cabin, wouldn't that be great? On a reclining seat. This is brilliant! I'm not normally allowed on here! And they're showing Marley and me. A pet airline, it's pretty ridiculous, isn't it? It seems like everywhere you look, animals are getting more and more pampered. How long before we see adverts on telly like this?
Here at Animal Spa, we offer a range of services. A doggy pedicure, marsupial massage, a pig hot tub, and for those very special occasions, a lemur back sack and crack wax.
Now, this is the part of the show I genuinely don't know anything about. There's going to be a mystery guest who's been in the news, and I have to figure out who that person is. So, please welcome my mystery guest! Hello, man.
Hello, how do you do? William Hanson.
William Henderson.
Hanson.
Hanson, I apologise.
Don't worry.
You weren't the fourth member of the boy band?
No, that's the bane of my life.
OK, sorry. So, I imagine it has something to do with education?
Yes, you could say that. Yes, it does.
It would appear to be. It seems to be quite an old-fashioned place you work, is that correct?
Yes, it's perceived to be.
Right. Chalk. Do you want to give me any other clues other than it feels like I'm going to get caned at any second?
Think topically. We've got a very big event coming up.
Oh, right. Were you William's teacher?
No, although
Kate's teacher?
No, although I'm far too young for that. Although...
Did you once creep into their playground?
No, but think about what sort of governs their life. You're on the right lines.
Money.
No.
What governs their life? Tradition governs their life?
Yes, we're on that right lines. Think about their behaviour.
Do you belong to, like, a finishing school?
Yes.
Ah, sweet.
I am Britain's youngest etiquette expert.
Ah, well, there you go.
Of course, we have the royal wedding tomorrow.
Sweet.
And I've been in the news recently telling people what to do when they're going to the wedding and how to behave around the royal family.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So how should we correctly... Should we fist bump?
Well, no, I'm going to teach you first.
Is that good etiquette? You've just put your hat down. Surely you should be able to...
gentlemen don't wear hats indoors, to be perfectly
honest. I've heard
that. Yeah. So, we're going to talk to you first about princely behaviour, how to behave like a prince.
Am I getting a horse?
No, health and safety wouldn't allow it, but we're now going to do how to stand correctly, because posture is very important. So, face the audience, please, and stand up. Now, you've got quite good posture, I have to say, but your shoulders should be back a little bit, and your head, lift your head up. No. And you want to be looking above people's heads when you're not when you're talking to someone. You look at them in the eye.
Can't do that.
Try.
I can't. I've tried all my life. It just wanders off, mate.
OK, so we've got posture, and I want you to maintain good posture throughout this lesson. Now, if you now just stand on your mark, let's turn towards me.
Where's my mark?
We're going to just here. We're going to do how to shake a hand. Because as a member of the royal family, you meet all these people, you've got to shake their hand. Now, we should just stress, if we were a commoner, so not a member of the royal family, then that's the official term.
It's the official term, is that right?
House of Commons, all that, commoner, yes, no one with a title. Then you don't shake they put their
You don't shake their hand?
No, unless...
Get the wet wipes, it's a chav!
What do you do? Well, they put their hand out to you. So if they put their hand out, then you may shake their hand.
So I, as the lower guy, would just go, low.
No, only if the Queen or Prince William or whoever it should be puts their hand out first.
So you be the Queen, I'll be me.
OK.
Right, we'll be Tesco, I say.
OK.
Hey, I know you. Oh. Slam it. Cheers, babes. What's in your basket?
No.
How can you eat that many crisps?
No, Russell. Russell.
It's just crisps. This woman's got all them.
Russell, I've got to...
I've never seen so much in my life.
You said slam it. That's not etiquette at all. That's horrendous. No, let's just step back a bit. So, another royal duty we're going to do is waving, because there's a lot of waving. Now, wave to the audience, show me how you do it. Now, that's fine, an audience are waving back. Now, that was a little bit too ferocious. Now, as a member of...
Has anyone ever complained of that? I've been waved at ferociously. That's wanking. That's a ferocious wave.
You'd be surprised.
What's the etiquette for that, eh?
Well, remember, like...
Calm, eyes...
Are you left or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. So dominant hand, and it's just a back and forth, gentle motion, OK? Dignified, OK? Nothing too sort of wild and manic. Dignified. Now, audience wave back, please, properly. Very good. Very good.
It's nice, isn't it?
We've got a very good audience. Dignified.
Excellent.
OK, so, with a little bit of polish, we
can make it through tonight.
But Russell, you never know. You might. There are princesses available, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie. We might have the wedding of Princess Beatrice and Russell Howard.
I've met her. Do you know I've met her? My brother genuinely offered her Vaseline for, No. He did it the correct way. Open, twist, move. But it was before the London Marathon, and you shaved terribly. And he went, would you like some? And she was very...
Lovely. Well, that's one for dinner party.
It's been lovely to meet you. I've really enjoyed that. I like to just do the handshake properly.
Yes, very good. And posture. Don't lean, Russell.
Here's one. Let me give you one.
OK.
Right, here's one, right? Hold down like that. Just go over the top. Oh. That's nice, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for my mystery guest. In the UK, we've had loads of sun. In America, the weather was a tad more aggressive.
Let's just bring you some pretty dramatic picture that we've just had in from the United States. Look at this. Dramatic stuff. It was in the Bowling Green, Missouri area, touching down at a farm, destroying a house, 2 barns, flipping over plenty of heavy equipment.
It wasn't just houses and barns that were destroyed. This man suffered a tragic, tragic loss.
Eric Hubbard was sitting in a friend's car eating lunch when Friday's tornado came barreling toward them.
It was skinning and it got big going up. Dog, and it hit the ground and kept coming up. I was finna get out the car, run in, and I was scared. I was finna eat a hamburger, it took it.
It took your hamburger out of your hand.
I wasn't drinking, I don't know what was it.
That damn tornado took my burger! What I love about this guy, he's in the middle of a storm and he's eating a burger. Oh my God, a tornado! I'm gonna die! And he's like that in every life-threatening situation. What's that, doctor? I got 6 months to live? I don't mean to cry, Doctor, but there's no ketchup on this burger. It's not been all bad news for him. Since this clip appeared on the news, he's become a celebrity.
He lost his burger in last Friday's tornado, but found internet fame along the way. Eric Hubbard, a.k.a. Burger Man.
He's now called Burger Man. A news crew even took him back and bought him a burger. Then, out of nowhere, he just started singing.
I was just sitting here wondering. All I want to do is thank God for my fans and having me here today. Cause there was a shame how that tornado took my burger away. Not even in my pride and drank it, took it all away from me. And I also wanna thank my friends for bringing me here today. Cause you didn't have to do it. That's all I wanna say is thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Tonight's story is beautiful. It's about a 6-year-old kid called Jack Henderson who uses his love of art to raise money for sick children.
Today I'm gonna draw a rainbow with 2 dogs.
Jack Henderson is gifted at drawing, and he likes nothing better than to break out the felt tip pens and get creative. But he also wanted more, to give more, that is. Jack's younger brother Noah, seen here on the right, has had respiratory problems and been in and out of Edinburgh's Sick Kids Hospital. Jack decided to raise money for the hospital, selling his drawings. His dad built him an online page, jackdrawsanything.com. His parents expected a few commissions from friends and family for a few pounds, but they were wrong.
We set a target of £100 and we thought it would take a few weeks and family and friends would all donate and Jack would do a picture a night, and by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon we'd already achieved over the £100 target. We set the target again to £500 on Tuesday and he got through that at midnight on Tuesday, and the target just keeps rising and rising.
Thanks for raising all the money for the sick kids. See you soon.
What a little dude, eh?
Rumour has it he's the one I'm leaving you for.
Now, it's a genuine pleasure to invite on my stand-up guest. He's absolutely fantastic. I used to share rooms with him in Edinburgh, so it's a genuine pleasure to have him on. So please welcome the wonderful Andy Salzman from the Bugle podcast on 3, 1, 2, 3!
Thank you. Thank you. Hello. How are you all? So, are you all glad to be alive? Oh, excellent. That takes a bit of pressure off me as a comedian. What I'm going to attempt to do over the course of the next 15 minutes or so is solve all of the world's greatest social and political problems, thereby bringing an end to all human conflict. Well, I was slightly relying on you being a little bit more excited. Too little, too late. Too little, too late. Clearly quite a lot of war fans in tonight. Some of you clearly thinking, well, Andy, peace is all very well in theory, but in practice it simply doesn't work. Because what does peace generally lead to? War. Whereas many wars do in fact end up in peace. So give war a chance. That seems to be the vibe of the Good News show this evening. Maybe you've got a point. I mean, let's take a look at the First World War. It's a classic example of this. I mean, yes, there were 4 years of gruesome fighting, but what about the 21 years of glorious peace that followed it? That is an 84% success rate. How many of us in our chosen lines of work can claim 84% success? I know I can't. If I could, then realistically, I wouldn't be telling jokes like this one. I'm quite a pessimistic man. In that respect, I'm like a German vegetarian. I fear the worst. So that's what I'll be attempting to do, solve all the world's great problems. Let's start with Britain first. Are you excited about the alternative vote referendum? Well, that little thing is really capturing the public imagination, isn't it? Very much in the same way that a baby spider captures an Apache helicopter in its web. Actually, do you actually even like democracy? Let's do this by vote. Raise your hands if you do like democracy. OK, and raise your hands if you don't like it. So, even in that vote, when all you had to do to express your opinion was go to the trouble of lifting a single limb, we still only managed around about a 35% turnout. Which shows quite how deep the rivers of apathy are coursing through this proud democratic nation. I think it's a real shame because they're trying to rebuild trust in our political system, and we become alienated from party politics. And the extent to which we have become alienated from party politics is proved by the fact that there are more suicides during party conference season than during the rest of the year put together. Now that is a lie, but my point stands. They say they're trying to rebuild trust, and it needs to be rebuilt. It's been shattered, and the level of debate in this referendum has been pitiful. Pretty much the same level of debate you get between yourself and your dog when you're trying to train it to crap outside. Very basic and driven by self-interest. They are trying to rebuild trust because for too long, politicians have felt alien to us. The common complaint is that politicians play God. And I guess when you think about it, they do play God, politicians, in the sense that they are not believed in by the vast majority of the public anymore. They haven't done anything demonstrably useful for absolutely ages. They seem to have developed an incredible ability to live in multiple places at the same time. And they keep employing members of their own family in influential positions. Truly uncanny. I'm not saying that Jesus wasn't the best man for the job. I'm just saying it would have been nice if there'd been a little more transparency in the recruitment process. I'm from a Jewish background, but I do know a bit about Jesus, who, as far as I recall, was a prominent turn of the first millennium Middle East-based magician and raconteur. I think it's a real shame that we've become so disillusioned with politics. I actually love democracy. In fact, if anything, I think I love it a little bit too much, because when I voted in the last general election, I simply could not control myself. I just lost it totally in the polling station. I don't know what it was. I think it was the raw, primeval excitement of being able to write the letter X in a small box next to the name of someone I'd never heard of, thus expressing my political opinions in the most meaningless and imprecise way available. It was simply too much for me. I was overwhelmed by this maelstrom of democratic ecstasy. I sliced the end off my finger and I wrote an X in blood next to every single candidate on the ballot paper. I then flipped the ballot paper over and wrote out the names of the entire 1981 Ashes-winning England cricket team, and I voted for them as well. Hell yeah, I screamed. This is why I fought all those world wars. I then attempted to jump into the ballot box and hibernate amongst the votes. But it's interesting, the coalition is being sort of forced apart by this. It's being driven apart on a number of issues. Immigration, for one, the most infantile of all political issues in Britain, immigration, particularly when you think of all the doctors the NHS has stolen from overseas. I think most illegal immigrants only come to Britain to see their local GP. We need to grow up about it, don't you think? The media drive this. The media are amazingly childish about immigration. In fact, just the other day, there was a story in one of the tabloid newspapers which suggested that all asylum seekers should be cryogenically frozen until the situation in their home countries has calmed down. And then they can be fired home out of a special humanitarian cannon, just allowed to thaw out gently in the sun. Which doesn't sound that unreasonable, does it? Till the next day, another one of the tabloids pointed out that no one is going to want that freezer in their town. How childish we've become about this issue. And there's going to be a split in the coalition about it. The Liberal Democrats, they wanted an amnesty for illegal immigrants. So they said that if you've been here for 10 years, you come out, tell us where you are, become part of the system, and you'll be allowed to stay. And the Conservatives said, no, all illegal immigrants must be repatriated, even if we don't know where they are. So, as far as I can make out, the two policies were the Liberal Democrats saying, we will find them and we won't send them home, and the Conservatives saying, we won't find them, but we will send them home. So, there's going to have to be compromise, isn't there? There will have to be maybe 50-50, maybe we won't find them and we won't send them home, which, of course, is the status quo. So much for change. And they'll be driven apart by the cuts as well. Are you enjoying being... Has anyone here been cut? I think the ultimate end game is to cut absolutely everything. And I guess, maybe they've got a point, because, do we need schools, for example? We have Wikipedia. schools are now just a waste of decent real estate. Do we need the NHS? Surely there's enough people alive in the world as it is, without the NHS dragging us out longer and longer. We already can't afford pensions, and with medical science improving as it is, within 50 years, it will be almost impossible to die. And every single travel bulletin will simply say there's long tailbacks heading into Switzerland. Do find an alternative euthanasia clinic if you can. And you look at the state of the world economy as well. I think that's another source of considerable discomfort. Now, I don't understand economics, and I sincerely hope I die that way. I believe that is the correct way to live your life. But I've tried to understand what's happened to the global economy in recent years, because I think there's some very important questions that need to be asked about the global economy. For example, why did global markets collapse faster than a prim Victorian lady at the unexpected sight of a gentleman's danglers? Why did share prices go down faster than a buttered baby down a well-waxed water slide? I cannot tell you how much empirical research went into that joke. And why did the whole global economic system go to pieces like a cheap, flimsy jigsaw in a fist fight on an old bus going down a bumpy road during a big earthquake? If there's a glut of contrived similes flooding onto the market at the same time during a gig, could that cause a catastrophic crash in the subsequent value of... sorry, ignore that line. If there's... Let me do that one again. To be honest, that won't work now, after that little hiatus. If you want to know how that routine was going to go, if you leave your email addresses on the way out, I will email you the full script of that routine as it was supposed to go. Then you could then email me back with how much you think you would have laughed at it. Just like ha in all the gaps. And then I'll forward your responses on to everyone else who was here tonight, and then you can collectively factor that laugh into your memory of my set. Deal? Good. But thanks so much. It seems to me that the answer to all these questions, from my layman's point of view, is that the whole of global economics is based on bullshit. It is based on figments and fictions and people gambling on stuff that essentially doesn't exist. And essentially what happened was that capitalism got a little bit overexcited in the aftermath of its points victory over communism in the Cold War, in which it had been helped by the fact that communism spent the entire fight standing in the corner punching itself in the face. And capitalism then got overexcited, waltzed into a casino and put absolutely everything on red, whilst muttering to itself, "Don't worry everyone, I have got a system." But sadly it didn't work, and the whole thing went more tits up than Dolly Parton's swimming backstroke. Which I'm here all week. And I think we have to start learning lessons from all this. We have to start, the dangers of too much debt. We must learn this. We learned this from the American mortgage sector that seemed to kick this whole thing off, and a very important lesson from that. And that lesson is that if you do lend a lot of money to people who have absolutely no way of paying that money back, then conceivably they might not pay that money back. Now, this is the kind of thing we can only learn by trial and error, isn't it? It's very much like when you slam your testicles in a car door. Yeah. Until you actually do it, you don't know for sure whether or not it will hurt. And you cannot build the global economy on hypothetically painful testicles, as John Maynard Keynes himself once said. And Adam Smith, the celebrity 18th century economist, and please pay attention, I've read nearly all of Adam Smith's Wikipedia entry. He wrote about the invisible hand as supposed to guide the financial markets, make sure nothing goes too far wrong, kind of self-regulating, benevolent force, this invisible hand, nudging things in the right direction. Now, this is all very well in theory, but there is a problem with this, and I think we all have to ask ourselves a very important question, and do try to be honest with yourselves as you answer it. If you had an invisible hand, what would you do with it? And here we see the problem in the system we've been relying on. Basic human nature. We would nick stuff, we would flick invisible V signs at people we don't like, and we would grope things. And that is exactly what the financial markets have been doing. So I think we need to reassess our priorities as a planet, because there's huge inequalities in the world. Maybe this is nature's way for the world to be unequal. You look at the natural world, it's full of inequalities. For example, when a giraffe dies, flies swarm all around its corpse. But when I squashed a fly in my window the other day, not a single giraffe to be seen. Square that circle. Is that what you people call justice? But we've kind of lost our moral leadership in the world. We've seen this with our economic mistakes and our environmental mistakes and the wars we've been conducting, and we've lost the moral high ground. And we see it by our complicity in torture, for example, and waterboarding. Are you familiar with waterboarding? For those who don't know what waterboarding is, it's a torture technique that was being used under the previous American administration, involving being strapped to a board, having cellophane wrapped around your head, and then simulated drowning, proving that there is, as ever, a very fine line between systematic torture and stag do. And really the only discernible difference is the absence of forced bonhomie. But it's a military thing. I think that's a better line than you're giving it credit for, but we can haggle. But anyway, it's a military thing, and military things often trickle down and benefit us civilians. We've seen this with things like satellite navigation, and now enables us ordinary civilians to drive 60 miles in the wrong direction without having to blame ourselves. So we all benefit from these things, and it'll be the same with waterboarding. It'll trickle down into everyday life. And I found out just the other day, in fact, how much we could all benefit from waterboarding when I lost my keys. And I just couldn't for the life of me remember where I last had them. So I thought, I will learn from Bush-era America, and I will torture this information out of my own subconscious. So I waterboarded myself quite aggressively over several hours. Eventually, of course, I cracked. And as if by magic, I suddenly remembered where my keys were. I'd just left them in the wrong pocket. Because I disapprove of torture and abide by the Geneva Convention, I wasn't able to use that information. So I had to sleep in the street. And because we like to think we have a moral superiority in these... Can we look at a country like Iran, for example, and to our Western tastes, we think Iran has quite appallingly discriminatory attitudes towards homosexuality. Because I read on the internet that in Iran, sodomy is punishable by death. But lesbianism only gets 100 lashes. Now that is feminism gone mad, isn't it? Come on, let's have some equality in this world. I love equality so much that I will not rest until all Iranian lesbians are dead. But I think we must start learning these lessons, and we have to accept some complicity in this. We've enjoyed the boom times, and I guess we all knew the bubble would burst. We were just hoping it wouldn't burst until after we were dead. But sadly, it did. And as my grandmother used to say to me, she used to say to me, Andy, do not complain about being eaten by a horse if you've chosen to play polo dressed as a sugar lump. It's a sage lesson for us all. And also, you have to ask, how often must these same mistakes be made? You know, how often must something recur before people cease passing it off as coincidence? And the answer to me is 50 times. Because 49 times I've now electrocuted myself. If it happens again, I will stop dropping my toaster in the bath to see if I can make crunchy water. It's time that politicians of the world learn that self-same lesson. So I'll leave you with that thought. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching Good News. Good night.